7:16 GH today live on GH1 TV. My name is Beswa Dowona Hammond, and of course, this morning I'm clothed by Emilia Collections rather, and my hair by Rick J's, all inside East Legon. More details later on my Instagram page. But now though, we're just about looking at some of the big stories. Indeed, the disaster story that happened, with Newmont mines seem to have captured most of the headlines. But there's something that I want to look at this morning. So on the front page of the Business Day, government struggling to raise revenue, recorded $1 billion short of its target, and this is attributed to the 2017 targets that was missed. Okay, I want us to tie this in with the GRA's exercise of widening the tax net and all of those measures that government is putting in place to ensure that we're able to raise more funds for development. The president made some comments, was it Thursday, when he addressed the nation on the Ghana-US Defense Cooperation Agreement. We'll see how best we can, retrieve that one as well, tied into this. Look at the economy in general, and of course, some other stories that are making the rounds. I'll introduce my guests shortly. This is the Breakfast Review segment on GH Today Live on GH1 TV. All right, so to do this, I'm joined by a lawyer and oil consultant or executive, if you like, oil and gas. Yes, the Honorable Kwame Jantwa. He's a comrade, yes, and a die-hard CPP. Good to have you in the studio.
Good morning, Beswa.
Yes, I hope the weekend was good.
Well, we've woken up this morning and we should thank God for giving us life. Some people didn't wake up this morning,
Indeed.
So we are grateful.
Indeed.
Yes.
Waking up and knowing that God is on your side alone is enough.
Yes, it's enough.
So yes, bless
It's
you.
enough.
All right, so we want to hear from you as well to all our social media platforms. WhatsApp remains 0557-207-351. And you can share your contributions as well to all the other platforms. We have Facebook, Twitter, and the hashtag is GH Today. Yeah. So let's begin our conversation. So I was looking at, tying all the stories to do with revenue mobilization for our country, economy issues, and what the president said last Thursday, and indeed as to whether those measures that government, is deploying to ensure that we have enough funds to be able to deal with all of those developmental projects. Those that will get us to that stage or that level. So on the front page of your Business Day this morning, it says government struggling to raise revenue. So last year, 2017, we know that they recorded $1 billion short of their targets. So government, we all know that has been struggling to raise funds for development projects. Indeed, according to the paper, there are fears that looking at the current challenges facing the economy, the government may struggle to secure the almost 40 billion Ghana cedi tax revenue for this year. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, he's been telling journalists in the crowd that he's hopeful that this challenge would be addressed when he presents to Parliament a new tax policy measures by July this year. We know as well that they're going for some bonds and all of that. What is your take, first of all, on the financial situation of our country, the economy? The president painted a rather, bright picture when he said that we have a more robust economy. Was it sometime 2017? Not too long ago, we heard him talk about how that the NDC had left a bankrupt, economy. So how do you marry the two?
Pesha, good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers. And let me first start by saying I'm not an economist. So my comments will be mostly from experience and a layman's point of view.
Just how the ordinary Joe can understand it.
Ordinary Joe can understand it. But, when the MPP came into power, there were questions that some of us asked and continued to ask and never got an answer. But it looks as if from the president's statement, he somehow gave an answer which really has been overlooked. And that, if you permit me, let me quote. He's at the end of his presentation on, was it Thursday?
Last Thursday. Yes.
Last Thursday. In his conclusion, he says, "Let us concentrate and spend our energies on working together to achieve that goal of a happy and prosperous Ghana," which is good, "and reject the hypocrisy of the naysayers who led our country into bankruptcy and the worst economic record of modern Ghanaian history." I asked this question when the MPP got into power. Are we bankrupt? We never got an answer. The president is telling us here that we are bankrupt. So it is no surprise that they're finding it very difficult to meet their targets. Apart from that, they're working with a manifesto which they didn't cost out for Ghanaians to understand. It was asked so many times, even on the BBC, when the president, the flag bearer then, was interviewed as to how they were going to achieve SHS and some of these things.
How much it would cost.
How much it would cost. They couldn't tell us.
Give a response.
It would have been a good thing if at that time they were able to give us how much they thought these things would cost and get us to analyze it, discuss it, which would have even sharpened their own manifesto. But it wasn't done. They come into government and realize that what they thought it was is not what it is. And they are now struggling. And because they kept silent about it, they weren't open about it, they're finding it very difficult to tell us that we are bankrupt. But the president has just said so. They were, what, $1 billion short? That is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. For me, they should tell us how they are going to claw back. Yes, they criticize the former government for going out for bonds. Yes, but aren't they doing the same now? Based on the economy and also based on the fact that they cannot lay their hands on capital to do the projects, they are forced to do that now. So you see, I keep saying, as one of Robert Mugabe's quotes, he indicates that when you're using a towel to wipe your face, be very careful how you use it, because the next time, the same towel that you use to wipe your bum, the same towel you use to wipe your face. You've got to be very, very circumspect when we are not in power as to some of the things we say. Now, let's look at the economy. It is tight. It is tight. And Biswa, let me tell you my own reason why I feel it is tight. There is no social netting that can capture people when they probably go in retirement, or they want to get a mortgage, or they want to pay school fees. Where's that social netting? When you go to places like the UK, there is a social netting.
And when you say a social netting, what is it?
In terms of how do you take care of people's accommodation? How do you take care of people's hospital? How do you take care of people's school fees?
Even while they are still,
yes, even while they are still working, and yes, when they go on retirement. And you see, this question about corruption has got to do with this social netting. I'm a civil servant. I'm working. The pay that I get cannot get me a mortgage. I'm struggling, and I'm heading towards pension. I don't have a roof over my head. My pay can't even build a small house for me. What do I do? What do I do? I cannot live on the streets when I come out of pension, nor can I live on the streets even when I'm working. What do I do? I find ways and means to make extra money to be able to do those things. And if we don't look at the structure of our social netting, it's going to cause us a lot of problems, and it's affecting the economy today. We've got to look at it. The government says we are doing one district, one factory. The government says they are doing free education. All these things have been done before, and it's a good thing to do. But the bottom line is, how much is it going to cost us, and where we're going to get the money from? So I hope and I wish that the government would now sit back and help us together. And you see, I have crossed that Rubicon of always bashing governments just because it's in power or it's not my party. I've got to the stage where I feel what is good for Ghana should be touted and talked about. What is not good for Ghana should be talked about and condemned. And so I would suggest that what government should do now is to sit with Ghanaians and tell us nitty-gritty how much all these projects are going to cost. One district, one factory, free SHS, the agricultural sector, the inputs that are required for the agricultural sector, the housing sector, the inputs that are required for the housing sector, our energy requirements, even just these 5. Let's sit down with a fine-tooth comb and try as much as possible to see how much it will cost, so that Ghanaians can appreciate the challenges that government is going through. You heard your callers, in the Sikaniye bottom, and an incompetent government, and it all boils down from not knowing where we are going. Ghanaians can't sit and say, okay, I'm going on this line and I'm ending here. They can't. So they are confused. So they have to resort to names and things that really do not help. I don't think as Ghanaians we should use that word incompetent. I don't think for any government, not only for this one, but for any government, because it doesn't help us. It doesn't give us the solutions we are looking for. All these challenges we are going through, we are looking for solutions. What are the solutions? So if government says they are going to going on a roadshow, how much is that roadshow going to cost us? Tell us. How much is it going to cost us?
Why do you think it's so difficult to get governments to usually put figures to, all the things that they promise to do?
It's the kind of politics we play in this country. The kind of politics we play.
And that is worrisome.
Yes, very worrisome. Because they put the figures together, they tell you this is how it is, opposition jump on it, and they use it to condemn. We don't have to. I believe that where an opposition is concerned, you take what the government is saying, analyze it one by one, one by one. You see, I believe, and I can talk from history, that in Ghana today, it's either you go 1 term or you go 2 terms. They will change you. They will change you. If you go your full 8 years, no matter how good you are, they will change you. And so when you are in there, do not be scared of thinking that if I say A, if I say B, I'm going to lose the next election. Do what is right. And for me, if the MPP government at this present moment do not even succeed in all the things they planned out to do, and they succeed in a few but do it well, I'll be happy. Because really, no government, probably apart from Kwame Nkrumah's government, has been able to achieve everything in their manifesto. Haven't been able to. Kwame Nkrumah did a lot in 9 years. How many?
We're still benefiting.
Yes, we're still benefiting.
A lot of
we have
those
had,
things.
nearly 30 years of NDC MPP. Have they been able to achieve what Kwame Nkrumah achieved in 9 years? Otherwise, if they had, we won't be now looking at one district, one factory. We won't now be looking at imports into the agricultural sector. We won't now be looking at the housing crisis. We won't now be looking at our energy challenges.
I think that the reality is that we are where we are because of all the reasons that in time past have been given.
Yes.
How do we get ourselves out? Now, the GRE, for instance, is suggesting some how do you call it, measures to widen the tax nets to get a lot of people captured in there, so that if indeed you're earning one income or the other, you get to pay taxes. Even that, we're yet to know how many people who are supposed to be in the space. So once again, we're not able to put figures to exactly what we're even we claim that will be the solutions. Yes. Do you think that it is a step in the right direction?
It's always a step in the right direction. It's always a step in the right direction. But will it achieve what we're looking for? Will it achieve what we're looking for? So, you were trying to capture quite a lot of people to pay tax. The quantum of people you're capturing is limited to a certain number. because not everybody would access some of the areas that you're talking about. So you get 1 million people, you get 2 million people, you get 3 million people. What's the population of Ghana?
Well, we're nearing 29.
Well, I think it's 28 million.
We're nearing.
Yes, we're nearing. Minus children. So even if we take the electoral population, how much are we talking about? 14, 15, 16 million people? Will this cover all those people? We are even struggling with the informal sector today with this system they are bringing in. So for me, the best thing that we should be concentrating on is the national identification card. For me, that's the best thing. You go anywhere, you need to give your national identification card, and in that national identification card, it will bring up everything you do. Everything you do. But we are not doing that. We are not looking at
we saw the engagement take off and all of that, and then
happened?
all of a sudden it seems to have waned.
What has happened?
You know, we should be asking the
What has happened?
quarters.
What has happened? For me, I take this thing they are doing as a pilot. And that is one challenge.
Are you talking about the GRE exercise?
Yes, I like to take it as a pilot.
Why do you think that's what it is?
Because it hasn't covered everybody. So let's see how it works within the next 6 months, 8 months to a year.
Because themselves, they don't even know how many people they're supposed to cover.
Yes, I would have liked them to do a pilot with it. Just do a pilot with it. See how it will work out. See the challenges and problems that come up. How many people are going for a driving license? How many people are, what's the other one? Driving license.
You can have a bank account.
Bank account.
Passports.
Passports.
But that is where I have a problem, because then that is a number one requirement of every citizen.
But yes.
And so.
It's requirement of every citizen. So I believe that they need to sit down and interrogate it better and come out with something that would be universal for everyone. And I would have wished what they should do is that when you're going for your driving license, they give you your TIN number. When you're going for hospital, they give you your TIN number. When you're going for this, they give you your TIN number. Because one time or another, everybody will go to the hospital. One time or another, most people will go for a driving license. And it should be more friendlier. Dr. Baumia, the vice president, was saying the other day that try and computerize these things so that we can pay our taxes via our mobile phones, which is good. Educate people as to how much they need to pay, because some people have the idea that when they are talking about taxes, they are huge taxes. Sometimes it's not that much, but little drops of water would always make a mighty ocean. I think it's a good thing, but we should try as much as possible to get the people alongside.
So, wrapping up on this particular, issue, what do you think that, what will it take, for us as a country to reverse this, or probably turn things around for the better? And I'm talking, revenue mobilization issues, which definitely is the foundation for which we can develop.
The first point is to bring Ghanaians along. Get Ghanaians to understand the essence of the system you're putting in place, for them to understand why they need to pay tax. The second is to make sure that Ghanaians are paid well, because if you are paid well, the quantum of people who practice corruption would reduce. It won't eradicate it, but it will reduce. Apart from that, government spending, there should be fiscal discipline in the way government spends. Why is it that somebody who has never been in government before wins a parliamentary election, becomes a minister, and is handed a 4x4? Why? Why don't we have a system where you drive your own car to work and then you use a pool, cars in the pool? It happens in India. We can cut costs. If government wants us to cut costs and do things, it should start with them. Gradually, little drops of water will make a mighty ocean to help us develop. But most of all, we should look at the agricultural sector and how we can better that sector. Because people eat all the time.
Right.
People need food all the time. And what will that do? It would reduce the imports of some of the produce that we bring into this country.
All right. Well, you as well have been texting. We'll share some of your messages soon. We're wrapping up, but I want to touch, on this particular story. So the National Security, they've taken over probe into Australia visa scandal. Page 17 has the detail. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, the National Security is to probe the deportation of some 50 Ghanaians from Australia in connection with the 21st Commonwealth Games ongoing in that country. This was after the Ministry of Youth and Sports referred the matter to the investigative body to unravel how the undeserving persons got visas to that country when they were in no way connected to the games. Indeed, they were said to be journalists.
Beswa, let me disappoint you. There's a much more important headline in that paper than this one.
The
doctors.
Yeah, why they're refusing to go up north?
One doctor to 8,924 people.
That's rather sad.
Sad. When it's supposed to be one doctor to 1,000 people. That is sad. And we have time without number. We have spoken about these issues time and time again.
And I'm struggling to understand why we are not able to, deal with the issues. They're talking about motivation, because then if you're paying, doctors who are working in Accra and other areas,
Beswa, I'm saying planning is key. I don't know whether the government is using the long-term national development plan that has been done, because it takes care a lot of these things. And basically, one of the reasons why doctors aren't going up to the north is infrastructure.
Of course,
it's infrastructure basically, and having good hospitals there. And so,
they've been underdeveloped. All these years.
Why?
And we're still struggling.
Yes. Why?
To bring development to that area.
When I drive to the north, and on the route I see mud houses, I ask myself, why do people still live in mud houses in 2018? Why? What is it? What is it? What lack of planning aren't we planning that is not getting the north to be part and parcel of Ghana in terms of infrastructure? Why? It's very frustrating. Are they not human beings like us?
Indeed.
They're human beings like us. And even the University of Sciences in the north, where doctors are trained, the doctors who are trained don't even want to stay in the north. How? How?
So that's a rather sad situation. How best do you think that we can turn it around? We've spoken about, you become like that broken record, because then we keep, going back to the same things that we talk about day in, day out. And for me, it's worrying.
It is planning and priority. It is planning based. Why you wake up this morning, you plan, don't you?
So probably it's not a priority our leaders.
Exactly.
For them,
exactly. And to take partisan politics out of it.
And to think that we are dealing with human lives, because then a lot of these people are not able to fly their, family members out of the country to see medical attention. But when it gets to that point.
Beswa, if we are able to do good hospitals in the north, we will get people from Burkina and inland countries coming down there. Let's plan properly. Let's prioritize properly.
The early on question that I asked on the national security probe, the Australian visa scandal, I wanted to tie it in to our hard talk conversation this morning. We're talking migration issues.
Yes.
And for me, to think that almost at every tournament you see this, serious, stories where people are who are not supposed to be on the team are on there.
Yes.
There
must be
what does that speak to?
There must be some complicit person within the whole setup who is funding this. One story I heard when this thing broke, that last year they were having the handicapped games also in Australia. People who could talk and people who went deaf went as if they couldn't talk and they were deaf. Then when they now started answering questions and hearing, they had to deport them. How fraudulent can we be? No, Beswa, I'm asking you, is Ghana that bad? Is it that bad? Because most of the people who leave this country to go to other places, if they don't have a profession, it's very difficult to live. If you go to the UK today, and you don't have a profession, and you're going to do wala to wala, sometimes where you even put your head is challenging and difficult. Let's make our country much better for people to live in. Yes, I do agree, it's challenging, but where else do we have but Ghana?
Well, we know the Sports Ministry has denied any knowledge of the scandal. Interestingly, these guys, all 50 of them, had valid visas, but failed to make the final entry into Canaan. So investigations are ongoing, and we'll keep you up to speed with that. But be sure to join in our Hard Talk conversation where we're looking at migration issues.
Messages?
If you have any experience to share to our social media platforms.
They didn't get any messages today.
Well, they're still coming in. I want to sit with my king and do a proper messaging. All right, okay. So listen, King Kaf returns with another really interesting conversation. Okay, so stick around and go away.